Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Athlete to Athlete podcast. It's your host, Mackenzie Sullivan. Hello, how you doing? This video, or this episode, was uploaded last week, and for some reason, it paused at the 4-minute mark on YouTube, and I didn't realize this, and I uploaded it because it didn't pause when I was editing it, and then I was confused, and I went back and looked at my editing, and the editing then paused at 4 minutes as well. Anyways, I don't even know what happened. So I'm redoing the video entirely, which is fine, I guess. I can talk. But, yeah, so this video, or this episode, is essentially about the topic of comeback seasons, or comeback year, and I will get into that, but at the beginning of the episode that I originally uploaded, I also got into a little bit of a life update kind of thing. So I'm going to do that as well, just to let you guys know what's going on. I'm also at a hotel right now, so I'll offer a little bit of an explanation for that. And then we'll get into the topic of today. So, as far as life update goes, now I am officially done with my fall semester of senior year. Hallelujah. It was a rough semester. I had 18 credits. I was in Bio 2. I was on top of some other core science classes, on top of some other classes that were just a lot. So it was pretty brutal. I honestly had a terrible, terrible case of senioritis this semester, and that's because next semester I don't have class, really. I have one online 2-credit class. And then I have 12 credits worth of an internship. So really, I went into this past semester like I'm done with school after this semester, basically. Because I am. Like, I went from 8 credits of being in a classroom to 2. And I'm not even in a classroom, I'm online. It's a nutrition online class. Like, I got that all day long. So, yeah, senioritis was pretty heavy this past semester. But even though I had that, I passed all my classes, and, that's about all I can ask of myself at this point. So, yeah, I'm grateful that I got through that semester. It was also just, I don't know, it was just a hard semester. Also, me transitioning back into running and everything, I just had kind of a lot weighing on me, and it was like, I don't really want to be studying lac operons on top of all the stressors I have going on. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that was a time. My finals week was last week, and I'm just so grateful for it to be completely over. I've been waiting for this break to come up so I could just relax and reset and get ready for the new year. And I'm excited for 2025. I don't know. I'm like, I've worked on myself a lot this year. I've gone through a lot this year. And I think I'm coming out of this year. I came into 2024 in a really good spot. Mentally, physically, all the things. And then as it went on, everything went to a dark place. And that really, really sucked. And now I feel like I'm leaving 2024 in a different spot than I was in the middle. I'm more mentally sound. I'm in a great physical shape than I've ever been. I'm making progress on the track. I'm doing well in all things NIL, content creation, and I passed my classes, So I feel like I ended the year a lot better than I could have foreseen this summer how it would have gone, So I'm grateful for that. I did have a little bit of a moment. I'm a big journaler, as I've expressed to you guys. I also like to bullet journal, which is just kind of like a mix of scrapbooking and journaling. Lots of doodling and whatever things put in this journal. And at the beginning of 2024, I wrote myself a letter to open at the end of 2024. Basically all kind of the hopes and dreams I had for the year for myself. And I opened that last week. I've kind of been dreading it I could have just left it, but I wanted to still read it. But part of me didn't want to read it just because I know the expectations I had for myself going into 2024. And I know that I fell short. I fell short. I hit rock bottom. So I was just kind of a little weary to open up that letter that I wrote to myself, feeling like I kind of let a past version of me down in a bit because things didn't go as planned. And there was, a big chunk of that letter that I was like, dang, none of that happened. I wasn't even close. Like, this sucks. But I also had like some, just fun parts in there, talking about how we were looking for our senior year house at the moment, and it's a little crazy, but I hope it's going to be really nice. And, now I am in my senior year house with 3 of my best friends, and it's amazing. There was talk about me growing my content creation, my platform, building my NIL, and I did that. So that was towards the end of the letter. And I was like, okay, I did. I know that there are lots of things that I did this year to be proud of. I know that. And I am proud of myself for them. But at the same time, I know that January 2024 me would be like, what the hell? What kind of a year was that, But December 2024 me is like, given the circumstances, we kind of ate. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I read that letter. That was a little tough. But yeah, so now it's winter break, Christmas break of senior year. And I drove from Pittsburgh to home in Michigan yesterday. Brought all my stuff because I don't pack light. I don't travel light. So I don't like to fly home because I assume that I'm going to have a lot of cargo wherever I go. Anyways, so I drove home. My family got a new cat. His name is Louis, aka Louis. Middle name Eugene. Eugene, aka Louis Jean. He has a lot of names. He's super, super cute. My parents surprised my sister and I because we had 2 pets growing up. A adorable chocolate lab, Daisy, and a kitten, Angel. They were amazing. Our dog passed away my freshman year of college, and Angie passed away last year. And that was just so hard for my family. And my mom was like, we're never getting another pet, which I totally understood from her perspective. Like, going through 2 amazing pets, having to put down 2 amazing pets, like, I at first would be like, yeah, we need to close that chapter for sure. But now it's just my parents at home, my sister and I both at college, and they wanted another family member. So we welcomed Louis to the family. He's our first guy pet we've ever had. It's always been my dad being the only boy, so now we have another boy in the family. Super cute, super fun. So I hung out with him yesterday for the first time. He's being spoiled already. He's such a cute kitten, though. He slept with me. He just curled up in my bed last night, which was so cute. I love cats so much. But yeah, so he's gonna be living at home with my parents, so I'll see him when I'm back home. Trying to think what other updates I have. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at now. Well, I guess let me say where I am at now, because I'm at a hotel. So yesterday I drove home to Michigan, and today I flew out of Detroit to Louisville, and that's where I'm at right now. I am here in Louisville for the volleyball Final Four national championships, and I'm so excited about this. I'll go more in depth about this whole experience in a different episode probably. I'm also gonna have a vlog going up the Monday after this episode goes up, so check out that on YouTube. But basically, I am here in Louisville because I got invited, essentially, by the NCAA and Meta. I was a part of the NCAA times Meta NIL Empower program, which was me and 49 other female student athletes from all over the NCAA. It was super, super cool. That was all semester long. And essentially at the end of that semester, I ended up being one of the top performers. You guys know I am dedicated to my content game. I put a lot of work into all this. So I was really happy to see the payoff. I ended up being one of 3 girls chosen to be brought to the volleyball national championships to shadow the NCAA content team and get my own content, get content for the NCAA. So that's what I'm doing here. And I just arrived today. Nothing has happened yet. Everything really starts tomorrow, and then Thursday is when the Final Four matches happen, and that's really the big content day. So I'm super, super excited. I feel so lucky to be here. And yeah, that's why I'm in Louisville right now. I had issues with this episode getting up last week, so I was like, you know what, let me bring some of my equipment with me to Louisville so I can get this episode recorded. And yeah, anyways, so yes, that's why I'm in Louisville. I'm so excited. And yeah, that's another thing, looking back at my year, 2024, and the goals that I had set for myself. This is such a cool opportunity that I never would have thought would happen for me. So in that way, it's like I feel like I do have so much to be proud of from this year. I am really proud of myself for this year. So yeah, that's just kind of a cool thing, As athletes, we kind of center a lot of things around athletics, and I feel like I kind of determine a bad versus good year based off how I do on the track. And so because that wasn't a good year on the track, I kind of, by default, I'm like, oh, it was a terrible year, which it was a terrible year for different reasons. But, I based off where I'm at now, like getting to do this is just really cool. So anyways, I'm just still kind of in disbelief that I'm even here, that I have this opportunity. Also, pit volleyball is the best. So I'm so happy that I'm here and I get to watch them compete. And unfortunately, we do leave here on Friday, and finals are next Sunday. So I'm missing the finals, which sucks, because we all know who's about to win. But anyways, I digress. So that's why I'm in Louisville. That's what's going on. Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a life update in that area. Oh my gosh, another update that I forgot that I talked about, obviously, in the last video. Or you know what? No, it's not even an update. It kind of is getting into the topic of the video. So let me just get into the topic of the episode. Okay. Comeback season. We hear that all the time. I feel like that phrase gets thrown out constantly. If someone has an injury and has to sit out a season, their comments are flooded with comeback season on the way. Next year's going to be comeback season. Comeback season, comeback season, comeback season. And essentially, I'm just so over the phrase and the concept of a comeback season. Let me explain. So, I am now a senior, meaning I have had 3 years of collegiate athletics under my belt. And none of those years have gone the way I envisioned, which has been so disappointing every year. And essentially, each year, I leave the season with my mind set on the next season, telling myself, comeback season is next year. And other people would tell me that too. And I don't think first of all, let me say, if someone is telling you comeback season on the way, I know they mean well, and I'm not saying like, shut up. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. But I guess for me, I'm throwing that out for myself. After my freshman year, it was terrible. It was, as a lot of freshman years are, but for me, it was god awful. And I left that year like, you know what? Sophomore year is comeback season. I'm going to bounce back from this. I'm going to work really hard over the summer, and I'm going to turn this right around. And I did work really hard over the summer. And I did have a lot of improvements on the track my sophomore year. But I didn't hit the goals that I had set for myself. I've had the same goals for a minute. I had these goals. I wanted to break 60 seconds in the 400 hurdles. My last meet of sophomore year, I run 60.01 in the 400 hurdles. That's just disrespectful. That's like me sticking out my tongue. Are we serious? So, I crossed that line. I saw the time, and I was like, oh no. Next year, it's over. It is comeback season. Everything's getting turned upside down. And I really thought junior year was going to be my comeback season. And I had it set up to be. I worked so hard over the summer. I came into fall conditioning, amazing shape. And I left conditioning in even better shape. And then I had my first meet of indoor season, and I destroyed it. This is our first meet every year is at Youngstown State. That meet, I opened in the 800. The previous year, I had won the 800 at this meet. So I came into this meet, and my confidence is just at an all-time high because I know I'm in the best shape of my life. And I ended up running 2:13, which was the second fastest time I've ever run, and I was running by myself, essentially, during that race. I got the meet record at that meet. It was my second time winning that meet back-to-back. And I was ACC Track Runner of the Week. All in that first week of me starting my junior season. And I was like, yeah. There is literally no way this can't be my year. This is my comeback season, officially. Like, this is it. And it was lined up to be that way. I feel like everyone would always say, like, junior year, freshman year, that's gonna go to crap. But then you get to sophomore year, and it's like, okay, I'm getting the swing of things, and then junior year is when you take off. That's what I've always heard, and I believe that, and I worked really hard to see that. And as we know, eventually, my junior year ended up going to crap, which sucked. There's lots of reasons for that. But it was just so disappointing to see how I could start the season in the best shape of my life. And I would end the season, come outdoor season. I would end that year in the absolute worst condition of my life. The turn was so dramatic. If you told me at Youngstown State last year, after I had done all these amazing things that week, if you told me by the end of this year, you're going to get pulled from activity, you're going to come in dead last at indoor ACCs, practically walk across the finish line, you're going to run terrible times outdoor, and if I were to tell myself the things that I had to go through this past summer, I would be so confused, because how could I let that happen? This was, I perfectly set up the year to go amazing for me, and it still went to crap. So let me be clear. That this isn't me saying don't have hope for yourself because everything always turns to crap and there's no point, and I'm not gonna be optimistic about this year. That's not at all what I'm saying. That's not at all. I just feel like I am constantly going into a season with high expectations for myself and really trying to force the idea of having this major comeback on me. And you just can't force things. you can't, like, you can work really hard and you can try and speak things into existence, but I mean, it just became too much. And I mean, you have to understand also, going into my senior year, if every year in years past I've been saying, next year, comeback season, and it goes horribly, why would I keep saying that to myself? Like, after the third time, okay, let's try a new approach. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm like, okay, this year, I know I'm not in the same spot that I was this time last year. I know I'm not. And I guess that can kind of make me a little weary, because if I'm in a worse spot than I was last year, how am I gonna end the year better than I did last year? But I'm really trying to convince myself and also just build up my confidence in myself, knowing I believe I can do better this year than I did last year, because I am in a healthier space than I've ever been in. And last year, I mean, I was doing really well on the track, but everything was kind of building up to crash down. And it crashed and hard. So this year, I don't want to go into my seasons with, you know, a list of crazy expectations and trying to convince myself this is going to be a major comeback, this, and that. Because at the end of the day, I don't know what's going to happen this year. I don't. I know that I'm going to work really hard, and that I have been working really hard since I've been cleared, and I'm proud of myself for that. And I know that there are things that I've always been capable of and haven't been able to achieve yet, and I still think I'm capable of achieving those things. But I don't want to hold that over my head this whole year. I think I've done that too much, and it hasn't worked. So this is, you know, my senior season. Let me try something different. Let me go into this year. Screw the idea of having this major comeback. Let me just, one, be grateful that I'm running. Appreciate that I'm able to do this. Appreciate the process of getting back into shape and getting back into things. And understand that, you know, my first meet back, I wasn't about to run 2:10. Like, it wasn't going to happen. Appreciating that whole process and respecting the process, allowing myself time, enjoying it also, having fun with my friends, having fun competing. And I think by shifting my mindset in that way to just enjoying the process more, relaxing more, holding more value in just being able to step on the track and compete against these other athletes, valuing that more, and just having more respect for myself and the athlete and what I put myself through, I think by shifting that, I am actually setting myself up better than I did last year. Maybe not physically, maybe not on paper, it doesn't look like I am. But I think this mindset that I have right now already is a lot better than it has been before. And I think that can set me up for success this year. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you, senior year, my comeback year. I'm going to do this, and this. Screw that. This year, I am going to run, and I'm going to be confident going into my races, because I know that I am healthy, that I work hard, and that I'm a vet. I've been here before. Hopefully, by doing that, I'll see results. And if I don't, I'm gonna cry. No, if I don't, at least I know that I didn't kill myself mentally in the process of getting there, you know, versus me having this terrible mindset and it crashing down and it being like, it was all terrible. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, but really I just feel like I think I'm giving myself a better chance this year by ditching the idea of having a comeback season. I posted when I first got removed from activity back in April, and my comment section was flooded with comeback season. And I remember in that moment looking at those comments just like, no, like there's no way. I've had enough. Stop saying that. This was supposed to be my comeback season. Like, I can't just keep thinking things are going to go well and it turns to crap, and then me saying next year. Now it's my senior year. It's this year or no year. I can't have this year go wrong and then say comeback season next year. Nope. No, like that I guess that's why it makes me so mad, is because saying comeback season really starts to just feel kind of like an excuse to stay hopeful for the next year when this year didn't go well. And then it comes to the next year, which becomes this year, and the same thing happens. And you're just constantly thinking about the future and envisioning what you can do with more time next year. And it might not happen. Then what? Now, you're a senior and you feel like a failure because you've been wanting to achieve these things for 3 years and yet you haven't. And I don't think I'm a failure. I can't say that I've never thought that about myself, especially this past year. But right now, I'm in a space where I want to give myself more grace and enjoy being a student athlete and just give myself the opportunity to do well this year. I would go into past meets with so much debilitating anxiety that there was no chance of me doing well. It didn't matter that I had the fitness of an insane athlete. It didn't matter because mentally I'm checked out, and that's what's going to show on the track. Not the 2 flat 800 pace workouts that I'm running in practice. That's not what's going to show. What's going to show is the fact that I'm going crazy up here. So over the summer, it was really important for me to get this in check first, because the mental overrules so many things. So that's why I do feel good now about what I could do and could achieve athletically, because I feel like I'm in a much better headspace. And I'm progressing on the track. I'm doing better in my workouts, and my coaches and my teammates are constantly affirming me of that, letting me know that I am doing well and that I'm not going to see immediate results, but my progression is looking good and I should be happy with that. So I'm letting myself sit and be happy with that and be proud of that. I could easily look at what I'm doing right now and look at what I was doing this time last year and be like, I suck. But that's not the case, because last year me didn't go through what current me did. So I had my first meet of indoor season at the beginning of December. And I filmed this podcast episode originally the week before, or I think a few days before I ran that meet. So that's, originally I had this whole conversation prior to going into that meet. So now, I guess it's good me getting to record this, because now I get to talk about how I'm feeling still on the topic of comeback season after already having one meet under my belt. So going into this meet, I was grateful to be there with my teammates. It was my last Youngstown State meet, first meet in a pit uniform. I was grateful to be there with my friends. I ran the 60 in the 800 and 4x4. My coach wanted all of us getting some short speed work in. So, I ran the 60. It was fun. It was funny for my teammates because it was me right next to one of our top 60-meter girls, so that was hilarious. And then before I ran my 800, I was just having fun, getting content, recording my teammates, cheering on my teammates. And then when it came time for my 800, I was nervous. Of course, I'm not saying, when I say that I'm, in this great mental space and I'm a lot less anxious of a person than I was, that doesn't mean that I'm not at all nervous going into these competitions. If anything, a little nerves is necessary for competition because it fueled adrenaline and, all the things. So I was a little nervous. And that's because I want to do well. The competitor in me wants to do well. That's just how it is. But I was going into that race like, okay, I know I've won this meet the past 2 years in a row. I know I'm going to be on the line and I'm going to hear over the speakers that Mackenzie Sullivan is the meet record holder in this event, and I'm probably not about to run a 2:13 right now. I know that. And I don't even know if I'm going to win. It's not a crazy competitive field. But I don't know. I don't really know what kind of shape I'm in right now. So we'll see. So I felt as I started getting closer to the race, I was really, really anxious. But then the gun went off, it went away. And I was like, okay. All I can do is try and be competitive and push myself. I don't really know my race pattern yet at where I'm at. I've just been out of it for a while, so just run, keep yourself up, and just try to do something here. So I ended up getting out, and a girl was getting out pretty hard for like 50 meters. And then she slowed way down. So I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm going to lead this. So I got in front of her, and then for the next 750 meters, it was all me by myself for like literally no one was within me for like 50 meters. And that's not how I expected that race to go. I ended up winning again, which was great. My third year in a row, I won. My time wasn't good. At this meet last year, I ran 2:13. This time I ran 2:22. Angel numbers, LOL. Which, I can't lie. I cringed when I crossed the line and saw like above 2:20, just because, for me, that's like, what? Last year me would have been like, what the heck happened? But I had a moment of cringe, and then I was like, okay, now kick that thought away, because I did what I wanted to do here. I came here, I went into my race, with easing myself, and I was competitive and just tried to run a good race. And I did that, and I ended up winning, and I was able to run that kind of a time with no help from anyone else in the field. So like, I was like, that's something to be proud of. I might hate the time, but it's still something to be proud of. And my coach came up to me right after I ran, and he hugged me, and he was like, hey, a win's a win. Like, that's not a bad spot to be in right now. You were running by yourself, and we're going to continue to build off this. This is good. Can't be mad at this. And, he was right. That was a solid start to my year. It looked a lot different than last year, but I'm not mad at it. And so I want to keep that same energy throughout the rest of this season. Going into my next meet at Penn State, that's next month. It's going to be like mid-January. I'm going to go into this meet, and hopefully by then I'll be in even better shape, because I've been working out even more, and just trusting that process of getting back into shape. And yeah, I'm just going to continue to build this year and just be proud of myself for the little wins. Try and go into each race with confidence that I am in a better space, and I have been here before, and I am capable of achieving good things. And that could sound similar, but is very different from me going into these races like, I need to run this time, I need to run this place, I need to do this, I need to do this, so that at the end of the year I can do this and this. That's gone. I'm ditching that, because that didn't work. That clearly didn't work. So I like this mindset that I'm in right now of trust the process, work on the things I can control, push myself in practice, and channel whatever energy I'm feeling in the moment on race day, and just try and run a good competitive race. That's all I can ask of myself. And I really hope that turns into a great year for me. But I am not gonna pressure myself with a list of expectations that I have for myself anymore. I'm not doing it. And I guess that's kind of where I'm at with the idea of a comeback season. And anyone that watches my YouTube or follows me on different platforms and is telling me, like, this year's going to be your comeback season, like, thank you, I appreciate you, and I know that's coming out of support. But if you did watch this video the whole way through and you know how I feel about that, then, I mean, you know that I'm probably just going to kind of ignore those comments. I appreciate them, but I'm going to ignore them because that's not the mindset that I have this year, or that I want this year. And I'm going into this year just grateful to be with my team for this last year. Because there was a point this summer where I thought that I wasn't going to be on a team with them anymore. But I am. I fought really hard. And I am on a team with them all still. Grateful to be with my coaches. Grateful that I get to step on the track every day and push myself. I'm grateful to be in a good spot physically, health-wise. I'm grateful for all the things, and I feel like I have a new perspective going into this year just because of how much I could have had taken away. Now, I guess I just know how hard it is to not have any of it. So even though it can be stress-inducing and physically exhausting and whatever to be going through this, I'm so grateful that I'm able to go through it. And I can't wait for this year. And I'm grateful that I have this year. So thank you for listening. I hope what I had to say made some sense. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. That's fine. But that's where I'm at right now. I wanted to share that just so you guys kind of knew just my mindset going into this year and why I feel the way that I feel. And hopefully it'll end up being a good year. Thank you so much for listening. If you aren't already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on whatever you're listening on. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to see videos on Mondays, and then these podcast episodes come out every 2 weeks. Follow me on Instagram at Mackenzie Sullivan, also at Athlete to Athlete Podcast on Instagram. And I'll talk to you guys in my next episode, which is going to be with special guest, my lift coach, Devin. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's a really good episode. I'll talk to you later.